Amara Jenkins stared at her phone screen, thumb hovering over the post button. This was rock bottom, actual rock bottom. Needed. Fake boyfriend for Christmas dinner. Family extremely nosy. Budget, $5. Serious inquiries only. She closed her eyes and hit post before she could change her mind. The Rent-A-Date app was sketchy as hell, but her cousin Shanice had just announced her engagement, and Amara couldn't face another holiday as the family's successful single-career woman. Code for lonely and failing at life. $23 in her bank account. Rent due in 5 days. Grandma's medication still unpaid. But $5? She could spare $5 to save face for one night. Her phone buzzed 30 seconds later. I'll do it. Send address. No profile picture. No reviews. Username, MK Chicago. Amara's stomach twisted. This was either the best terrible decision of her life or the worst. She had no idea it was both. The coffee shop smelled like burnt espresso and broken dreams, Amara's natural habitat for the past 3 years. She wiped down the counter for the 4th time, watching December snow fall against the South Side Chicago streets through the steamed window. Girl, you look stressed. Marcus, her co-worker, leaned against the register. Let me guess. Family? Family, Amara confirmed, twisting one of her thick curls around her finger. She'd spent 2 hours this morning doing a twist-out. And for what? To serve overpriced lattes to people who didn't say thank you. Her phone buzzed again. MK Chicago. What should I wear? Amara blinked at the message. Most fake dates would ask what the family was like, what story to tell. This guy wanted wardrobe advice? She typed back, something nice, but not too nice. My family will roast you if you look too fancy. The response came immediately. Define too fancy. No designer labels. No watches that cost more than my car. Actually, I don't have a car, so no watches that cost more than a decent used car. 3 dots appeared, disappeared, appeared again. Understood. Pick you up at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Address? Amara sent her apartment building's location, then stared at the screen. She'd just given her address to a complete stranger from a sketchy Rent-A-Date app. Her mother would kill her. If this MK person didn't kill her first, but what choice did she have? You're doing that thing again, Marcus said, interrupting her spiral. That thing where you overthink until you convince yourself the sky is falling. The sky might actually be falling this time. It's just Christmas dinner, Amara. What's the worst that could happen? She thought about her Aunt Lorraine's passive-aggressive comments, her mother's disappointed sighs, Shanice showing off her engagement ring for the 1,000th time, while everyone looked at Amara with pity. You're right, she lied. What's the worst that could happen? 24 hours later, Amara stood in her tiny apartment, staring at her closet like it held the secrets of the universe. Everything was either too casual, too tight, or had a coffee stain she'd never quite gotten out. She settled on a burgundy sweater dress that hugged her curves and made her deep brown skin glow. Her hair was cooperating today, twist out still intact, curls defined and beautiful. Small mercies. The buzzer rang at exactly 6 p.m. Amara grabbed her coat and headed downstairs, heart hammering against her ribs. She'd seen enough true crime documentaries to know this was how they all started. Woman meets stranger from internet. Woman disappears. Woman's family says she should have known better. She pushed open the building's front door and stopped breathing. The man standing beside a black Mercedes SUV was not what she'd expected. He was tall, easily over 6 feet, dressed in a perfectly tailored charcoal suit that probably cost more than her monthly rent. No, her yearly rent. His black hair was styled in an undercut, sharp and clean. Even from 10 feet away, she could see the intensity in his dark eyes, the angular cut of his jaw, the way he held himself like someone who'd never been told no in his entire life. This man did not need $5. This man looked like he wiped his ass with $100 bills. Amara Jenkins? His voice was deep, accented with the flat vowels of Chicago, but something else underneath. Something that made her spine straighten. That's me. She walked closer, forcing confidence she didn't feel. You're MK? Minho. He extended his hand. Kang Minho. His grip was firm, warm despite the December cold. She noticed the way his suit jacket collar didn't quite hide something dark on his neck. A tattoo, maybe. You're way too hot to be on a Rent-A-Date app for $5, Amara said before her brain could stop her mouth. What's wrong with you? Secret wife? Criminal record? Weird fetish? The corner of his mouth lifted. Not quite a smile, but close. Would you believe boredom? No. Smart woman. He opened the passenger door. Shall we? Amara climbed into the SUV, her dress riding up slightly. The interior smelled like expensive leather and something else. Cologne, maybe, or just the scent of wealth. The seats were heated seats. She'd forgotten those existed. Minho slid into the driver's seat with fluid grace, and that's when she saw it clearly. The tattoo creeping up the right side of his neck from beneath his collar. Dark scales, intricate lines. A dragon, maybe. "So what's our story?" he asked, pulling smoothly into traffic. "How did we meet?" "Coffee shop," Amara said immediately. "I'm a barista. You came in, ordered something pretentious." "I don't drink coffee." She stared at him. "Who doesn't drink coffee? People who don't want to be dependent on caffeine to function. That's the most psychopath thing I've ever heard." That almost smile again. "You might be right." Despite herself, Amara laughed. This was insane. This whole situation was insane. But something about Minho's complete calm made her feel less like she was about to spiral into disaster. "Okay, tea then," she amended. "You ordered tea. Green tea, probably, because you seem like that type." "What type?" "Controlled, disciplined. Probably does hot yoga and meditates." "I've never done yoga in my life." "But you meditate." He glanced at her, something shifting in his expression. "How did you know?" "Lucky guess." Amara settled back against the heated seat, watching Chicago's lights blur past. "So you came in for tea. We talked. You asked me out. I said yes because you're unfairly attractive, and I have terrible judgment. Your family will believe that?" "My family will believe I have terrible judgment, absolutely." Minho's hands tightened slightly on the steering wheel. She noticed his knuckles, scarred, like he'd hit things. Hard things. Repeatedly. "What do you do for work?" Amara asked, suddenly aware she knew nothing about this man except that he'd accepted $5 to pretend to date her. "Import and export." "That's vague." "It's accurate." "What do you import and export?" "Various goods." His tone made it clear the subject was closed. "Tell me about your family. Who should I expect?" Amara launched into descriptions. Aunt Lorraine, who'd ask invasive questions. Her mother, who meant well but worried constantly. Her father, who'd want to talk sports. Shanice, who'd compare her engagement to everything Amara didn't have. Minho listened, really listened, his eyes flicking between her and the road. He asked follow-up questions, remembered details. By the time they pulled up to her parents' house in Chatham, Amara had almost forgotten this was fake. Almost. "Ready?" Minho asked, killing the engine. Amara looked at the house, every window glowing warm, her family's silhouettes moving behind curtains. Gospel music drifted faintly from inside. This was her world, her loud, loving, chaotic world, and she was about to bring a complete stranger into it. A stranger who looked at her like she was something precious and dangerous all at once. "Ready," she lied. Minho's hand found hers in the dark. "Then let's give them a show." The moment Amara's mother opened the door, her eyes went wide. "Baby, you didn't tell me. Oh, my lord, come in, come in." Patricia Jenkins ushered them inside with the kind of enthusiasm usually reserved for lottery winners. Harold, get in here." Amara's father appeared from the kitchen, dish towel over his shoulder, and stopped dead. His gaze traveled from Minho's expensive shoes to his perfectly styled hair, lingering on the visible edge of neck tattoo. "Dad, this is Minho. Minho, my parents, Patricia and Harold." "Mr. and Mrs. Jenkins." Minho's voice shifted, warmer, more approachable. He extended his hand to her father first, a sign of respect, Amara noted. "Thank you for welcoming me into your home." Harold's handshake was the kind that tested men. Minho didn't flinch. "Where are you from, son?" Harold asked. That edge in his voice Amara knew too well. Protective dad mode activated. "Born and raised in Chicago," Minho replied smoothly. "My parents immigrated from Seoul before I was born. South Side, actually. We moved north when I was 12. The casual mention of the South Side did something to her father's expression. Softened it slightly. Shared territory. "What do you do?" Aunt Lorraine appeared from the living room, already circling like a shark. "For work?" "Import and export. International trade." Minho's hand found the small of Amara's back, a possessive gesture that sent heat through her entire body. "I met Amara at her coffee shop. She made the mistake of being kind to me and I couldn't stay away." Amara's traitorous heart skipped. He was good. Too good. "How long have you been dating?" Lorraine's eyes narrowed. 3 months, Amara and Minho said simultaneously. They'd agreed on this timeline in the car. Long enough to be serious, short enough to explain why he'd never been mentioned. 3 months and we're just hearing about him? Patricia's voice carried that particular frequency of maternal hurt. "Amara Jenkins?" "I wanted to be sure," Amara interrupted, the lie tasting strange on her tongue. "You know how you all get. I didn't want the pressure until I knew it was real." "And is it?" Lorraine asked, still watching Minho like he might sprout horns. "Real." Minho's thumb traced small circles on Amara's back, a touch so intimate she forgot to breathe. When he looked at her, his dark eyes held something that almost seemed genuine. "Yes," he said, voice quiet but certain. "It's real." The conviction in his tone made Amara's stomach flip. Dinner was a battlefield disguised as a feast. Amara's mother had outdone herself. Mac and cheese that could make angels weep, collard greens, candied yams, cornbread, ham, turkey, the works. The dining table groaned under the weight of tradition and expectation. Shanice sat across from them, her engagement ring catching light like a disco ball. Her fiancé, Derek, was a nice enough guy who worked in finance and said actually too much. "So, Minho," Shanice began, her smile sharp. "Import and export, that's pretty vague. What exactly do you import?" "Various goods." Minho's expression remained pleasant, but Amara felt him tense slightly beside her. "Depends on market demand. Recently we've focused on Korean specialty items, traditional teas, ginseng products, beauty supplies. There's a growing market for K-beauty in the States." The lie, or was it truth, rolled off his tongue effortlessly. "And the tattoo?" Uncle James pointed at Minho's neck with his fork. "That part of Korean culture too?" Tension rippled through Minho's shoulders. Amara's hand found his under the table, squeezing. He glanced at her, surprised. "It's a dragon," Minho said, his voice carefully controlled. "In Korean culture, dragons represent wisdom, strength, and protection. I got it when I was 21, young and stupid." "I like it," Amara said firmly, meeting her uncle's eyes. "It's beautiful." Harold made a non-committal sound, but Patricia smiled. Small victory. The interrogation continued through dinner. "Where did he live?" Gold Coast, eyebrows raised. "What car did he drive?" Mercedes, more eyebrows. "What were his intentions?" Serious, Patricia looked ready to cry happy tears. But it was Amara's grandmother, Mama Jean, who truly tested him. The old woman had been silent all evening, watching with eyes that saw everything. When dessert came out, sweet potato pie and peach cobbler, she finally spoke. "Boy, come help me to the kitchen." It wasn't a request. Minho stood without hesitation, offering his arm to Mama Jean. They disappeared into the kitchen, leaving Amara surrounded by curious stares. "He's fine," Shanice whispered, leaning close. "Like, illegal fine." "Where did you find him?" "Coffee shop." Amara repeated the lie, guilt twisting in her stomach. "Girl, what coffee shop? I'm about to start working there." In the kitchen, Amara could hear Mama Jean's voice, low and serious. She strained to listen. "My granddaughter is special," Mama Jean was saying. "She's got a heart too big for this world and people take advantage. You planning to be one of those people?" "No, ma'am." Minho's response was immediate. "You care about her? Really care?" A pause. Amara held her breath. "Yes," Minho said, and something in his voice made Amara's chest ache. "More than I expected to." "Then you better be worth the pain you're gonna cause her." "I don't plan to cause her pain. Baby, we never do. But you got secrets written all over you. I can see it. That tattoo ain't just decoration. Those scars on your knuckles ain't from no gym. You're in something dark." Silence. "I won't let it touch her," Minho finally said. "Whatever darkness I carry, I'll keep it away from Amara." "You can't promise that." "I can try." Mama Jean sighed, long and heavy. "I suppose that's all any of us can do. But you hurt my baby girl, and I don't care how pretty you are or how much money you got. I'll end you myself." "Understood, ma'am." They returned to the dining room, Mama Jean patting Minho's arm almost affectionately. Amara searched his face for clues, but he'd slipped back into that careful mask. The rest of the evening passed in a blur of laughter and music. Someone put on Charlie Wilson. Amara's father cornered Minho to talk about the Bulls, and to everyone's surprise, Minho held his own. He helped clear dishes without being asked. He complimented Patricia's cooking with genuine appreciation. He even taught Amara's young cousin a few words in Korean. By the time they left, Amara's family was half in love with him. "You bring him back," Patricia whispered fiercely, hugging Amara at the door. "That's a good man, baby. Don't let him go." Guilt crashed over Amara like a wave. If only her mother knew the truth, that Minho was a $5 rental, a stranger playing a role. Except it hadn't felt like playing. In the car, they drove in silence for several blocks. The performance was over. They could drop the act. So why did Amara's hand still tingle from where he'd held it during dinner? "Your family is wonderful," Minho said finally, his voice softer than before. "They liked you. Too much, probably. Is that a problem?" "It will be when I have to tell them we broke up." The words hung between them like smoke. This was always temporary. A transaction. $5 for a few hours of pretending. Minho's jaw tightened. "When are you planning to break up with me?" "I don't know. After New Year's, maybe. Give it a few weeks so it doesn't look suspicious right after Christmas." "Logical." "Yeah." More silence. Amara watched the city lights streak past, something hollow growing in her chest. This was what she'd wanted. A fake boyfriend to get through one dinner. Mission accomplished. So why did the thought of ending this make her feel like she'd lost something real? Minho pulled up to her apartment building, but didn't unlock the doors. "Amara." She turned to face him. In the dim light, his features were all shadows and sharp edges, but his eyes, God, his eyes held something that made her breath catch. "Thank you," he said quietly. "For tonight. For letting me be part of something normal. Something good. I should be thanking you. You went way beyond what $5. It was never about the money. Then what was it about?" He studied her for a long moment, and Amara had the sudden feeling she was being seen. Really seen. For the first time in years. "I don't know yet," Minho admitted, "but I'd like to find out." Before Amara could process that, her phone buzzed. A Venmo notification. Kang Minho had sent her $500. "What? No, I can't." She stared at the screen in shock. "Your grandmother's medication," Minho said calmly. "I heard you on the phone with the pharmacy when I was in the kitchen. Consider it a Christmas gift." "How did you—" "That's too much. Merry Christmas, Amara." He reached across and opened her door, his hand brushing her arm. "I'll see you soon." "Wait, what do you mean?" But he was already pulling away, leaving Amara standing on the snowy sidewalk with $500 she didn't earn and questions she couldn't answer. What the hell had just happened? Amara spent the next 2 days in a fog. She paid for More Jean's medication, bought actual groceries, and still had money left over. The guilt ate at her. $500 from a stranger who'd pretended to be her boyfriend for one night. She tried to Venmo the money back. He didn't accept it. She texted him, "I can't keep this, it's too much." His response, "Yes, you can. Consider it compensation for the best evening I've had in years." That didn't help the confusion twisting her insides. On December 27th, her phone rang from an unknown number. "Hello? Amara Jenkins?" A woman's voice, professional and cold. "Speaking. This is Detective Sarah Chen with the Chicago Police Department. I need to ask you some questions about Kang Minho." Amara's blood turned to ice. "What? Why? Are you aware of Mr. Kang's business activities? He does import and export—" "Ms. Jenkins, Kang Minho is the head of one of Chicago's most powerful Korean organized crime syndicates. His imports include illegal weapons, drugs, and contraband. We've been building a case against him for 3 years." The world tilted sideways. Amara sat down hard on her couch, phone pressed to her ear. "That's impossible," she whispered. He seemed— "Dangerous men often seem charming," Detective Chen said, not unkindly. "We have surveillance photos of you with him on Christmas. Your apartment building is being watched. If you're involved with him, you're in danger. We can offer protection if you cooperate." "I'm not involved with him. It was one dinner. I hired him from an app." "You hired a mafia boss from a dating app." When she said it like that, Amara sounded completely insane. "I didn't know who he was," Amara insisted, her voice shaking. "I just needed a fake date for Christmas. He answered the ad, that's it." Detective Chen sighed. "Ms. Jenkins, I'm going to be straight with you. Kang Minho doesn't do anything without a reason. If he spent an evening with you and gave you money, he wants something. These men don't have normal relationships. They have transactions and liabilities. He doesn't want anything from me." "I have nothing—" "Then why is he parked across from your building right now?" Amara's head snapped toward the window. She pulled back the curtain and looked down at the street. A black Mercedes SUV sat under the streetlight. Even from 3 stories up, she could see the silhouette in the driver's seat. "Minho. Stay away from him," Detective Chen warned. "For your own safety. And if he contacts you again, call me immediately." She rattled off a phone number that Amara barely heard. The line went dead. Amara stared at the SUV, her heart hammering. A mafia boss. She'd brought a mafia boss to Christmas dinner. Her sweet church-going mother had fed a criminal mac and cheese. This was insane. This was— Her apartment buzzer rang. Amara jumped, then crept to the intercom. Hello? It's me. Minho's voice calm as ever. Let me up. We need to talk. The police just called me. I know. That's why we need to talk. Please, Amara, 5 minutes. Every instinct screamed at her to refuse, to call Detective Chen back, to run. But Mama Jean's voice echoed in her mind. You got secrets written all over you. Her grandmother had known, had seen something Amara missed. Against her better judgment, she buzzed him up. Minho appeared at her door moments later, still in that expensive suit, but looking somehow different. Tired, maybe. The mask slipping. You're a criminal, Amara said before he could speak. Yes. A mafia boss. The term is antiquated, but essentially, yes. And you didn't think to mention this before I brought you to meet my family? Would you have let me come if I had? No. Exactly. Minho stepped inside, closing the door behind him. In her small apartment, he seemed even larger, more dangerous. The dragon tattoo on his neck suddenly made terrible sense. I'm sorry. I should have been honest. Why weren't you? Why did you even accept my ad? Do you get off on pretending to be normal, slumming it with poor people? Pain flashed across his face. It's not like that. Then what is it like, Minho? Or is that even your real name? It's my real name, and I accepted because... He raked a hand through his hair, the first crack in his composure she'd seen. Because I saw your post and I thought, here's someone desperate enough to ask a stranger for help. Someone honest about having $5 and nothing else. Someone real. Real, Amara laughed bitterly. That's rich coming from a man who lied about everything. I didn't lie about how your family made me feel, or how you made me feel. Stop. She held up a hand, backing away. Just stop. The police said you're dangerous, that I'm in danger just being near you. Detective Chen is right about one thing, Minho said quietly. Being near me is dangerous, but not because I would hurt you, because other people will use you to hurt me. Why would anyone use me? We're not even really dating. They don't know that. They saw us together. They saw me... He stopped, jaw clenching. They saw me care. The admission hung between them, fragile and terrifying. You don't even know me, Amara whispered. I know you pay for your grandmother's medication when you can barely afford rent. I know you work 2 jobs and still smile at rude customers. I know you twist your hair when you're nervous, and you hate disappointing your family more than anything. I know you're the kind of person who sees the best in people, even when they don't deserve it. You learned all that from one dinner? I learned it from watching you. I've been watching you for 2 weeks, Amara. Ice slid down her spine. What? After I accepted your ad, I looked you up, found out where you worked. I came to your coffee shop 3 times. You made me tea each time and smiled like I was a real customer, not someone to be suspicious of. You stalked me? I did my research. And yes, I realize how that sounds, but in my world, you don't meet strangers without knowing exactly who they are first. I'm not in your world. You are now. Minho's expression hardened. The moment we were seen together, you became part of it. The Huang family, my rivals, they already know about you. They're watching, waiting. Then we tell them it was fake. We tell everyone it was one stupid date that meant nothing. Will that be convincing if I'm parked outside your apartment every night? If I've had 2 of my men following you to make sure you're safe? Amara's knees went weak. You've had people following me? To protect you. That's not protection, that's... She couldn't even finish the sentence. This was a nightmare. You need to leave. Right now. And you need to stay away from me and my family. I can't do that. Yes, you can. Just go back to your criminal empire and forget I exist. Amara, get out. Her voice cracked, tears burning her eyes. You don't get to do this. You don't get to come into my life, pretend to be someone you're not, and then tell me I'm in danger because of you. That's not fair. You're right, Minho's voice gentled. None of this is fair, but fair doesn't matter anymore. What matters is keeping you alive. I was alive before I met you, and now people who want to hurt me know you exist. They know I gave you money. They know I spent an evening pretending to be your boyfriend, and in my world, that's enough. Amara sank onto her couch, head in her hands. This couldn't be happening. 2 weeks ago, her biggest problem was affording rent. Now she was apparently a target for organized crime. What do I do? She asked, hating how small her voice sounded. Minho crouched in front of her, his hands carefully not touching. You let me protect you, just for a little while, until I can convince the Huang family you mean nothing to me. Do I? Mean nothing to you? He looked at her for a long moment, and there was something raw in his eyes, something that looked almost like regret. No, he admitted, you don't. Minho, pack a bag, he said, standing abruptly. You're coming with me. My penthouse is secure. No one can touch you there. I'm not going anywhere with you. Amara, please. The desperation in his voice stopped her. I've already lost too much to this life. I won't lose you too. You don't even have me. Then let me keep you safe long enough to figure out if I could. It was the worst idea in the history of bad ideas. Going home with a man she barely knew, a criminal, a dangerous man with secrets and violence written into the scars on his hands. But when Amara looked into Minho's eyes, she didn't see a monster. She saw someone lonely, someone who'd tasted something normal and couldn't let it go, someone exactly like her. 1 week, she heard herself say, just until you fix this. Then I go back to my life and you go back to yours. Relief flooded Minho's expression. 1 week. He was lying. She was lying. They both knew it. Minho's penthouse in Gold Coast was obscene. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked Lake Michigan, the frozen water stretching into darkness. The furniture was all clean lines and expensive leather. Abstract art that probably cost more than Amara's student loans hung on walls painted in shades of grey and white. It looked like a magazine spread. Beautiful and completely soulless. Guest room is through there, Minho said, gesturing to a hallway. Bathroom attached. You'll have everything you need. And what about what I want, which is to go home? In a week. He shrugged off his suit jacket, and Amara caught a better glimpse of the dragon tattoo. It was intricate, beautiful in a terrifying way, scales and claws winding up his neck, disappearing beneath his collar. Are you hungry? No. You're lying. You didn't eat dinner, I can tell. How? You get this line between your eyebrows when you're hungry and trying to hide it. He moved to the kitchen, all marble and stainless steel, and started pulling out ingredients. Sit, I'll make something. You cook? My mother insisted all her children learn, said a man who can't feed himself is half a man. Despite everything, Amara found herself sitting on one of the bar stools, watching as Minho moved through the kitchen with surprising ease. He'd rolled up his sleeves, revealing more tattoos on his forearms, Korean characters she couldn't read. What do those say? She asked, pointing. Family, loyalty, honor. He glanced down at them. Ironic, considering. Considering you're a criminal? Considering I've betrayed all three at various points. He said it so matter-of-factly, like he was commenting on the weather. Amara studied him, really studied him for the first time, without the performance of Christmas dinner. The sharp line of his jaw, the way his dark eyes seemed to calculate everything, the control in every movement. This was a man who'd hurt people. She knew it instinctively. But he was also a man who'd sat through her family's interrogation with patience, who'd helped Mama Jean to the kitchen without being asked, who'd paid for medication he had no obligation to cover. Who are you, really? Amara asked quietly. Minho's hands stilled on the cutting board. That's a complicated question. I've got time. You're holding me hostage in a penthouse. Might as well get to know my captor. You're not a hostage. What am I then? He looked at her, something unreadable in his expression. I don't know yet. He returned to cooking, and after a moment, the smell of garlic and sesame oil filled the kitchen. Amara's stomach growled traitorously. My father came to Chicago with nothing, Minho said suddenly, his voice low. He worked in a restaurant, saved every penny, sent money back to family in Seoul. He wanted the American dream. What happened? The American dream doesn't exist for everyone. He was cheated by his business partner. Lost everything. The stress killed him, heart attack when I was 15. Minho's knife work was precise, controlled. My mother had to work 3 jobs, my younger sister had to drop out of school, and I learned that playing by the rules only works if everyone else is playing the same game. So you became a criminal. I became a survivor. I started small, collecting debts for a Korean businessman in the neighborhood. I was good at it. Scary enough to get people to pay, smart enough not to get caught. By the time I was 20, I was running my own crew. He plated the food, some kind of Korean stir-fry that looked and smelled incredible, and slid it across to her with chopsticks. And now? Amara asked, picking up the chopsticks awkwardly. Now I'm the head of an organization that controls half the Korean district and has connections throughout the city. I import what people want and can't get legally. I protect business owners from other predators. I employ people who can't get jobs elsewhere. He met her eyes. I'm not a good man, Amara, but I'm not a monster either. The police seem to think otherwise. The police think in black and white. The world is grey. Amara took a bite of the food and almost moaned. It was perfect, savory, slightly sweet, with just enough heat. This is incredible. It's my mother's recipe. Bulgogi, Korean beef. She used to make it every Sunday. Used to. She passed 3 years ago, cancer. I'm sorry. Don't be. She lived long enough to see me buy her a house, to see my sister graduate college. That's more than my father got. They ate in silence for a while, and Amara tried to reconcile everything she knew about this man. Criminal, chef, son who'd bought his mother a house, dangerous stranger who'd given her $500 for medicine. Why did you really accept my ad? She asked finally. And don't say boredom. Minho set down his chopsticks, his expression shifting to something vulnerable. 3 months ago, my family started pressuring me to marry, not for love, for alliance. There's a daughter of another organization in New York. The marriage would strengthen both families, expand territory, increase profit. But you don't want to marry her. I don't even know her. And the idea of spending my life in a transaction disguised as marriage. He shook his head. When I saw your post, I thought maybe I could have one night of something real, something that wasn't about power or money or alliances, just a woman who needed help and was honest enough to ask for it. But I was asking you to fake it. At least you were honest about the fake. My entire life is performance, playing the role of dutiful son, ruthless boss, perfect candidate for arranged marriage. With you, at dinner with your family, I got to be someone different, someone almost normal. You can never be normal, Amara said softly. Not with this life. I know. His hand moved across the counter, stopping just short of touching hers. But for a few hours, I could pretend. Amara's phone buzzed. Her mother. Baby, we haven't heard from you in days. Is everything okay? Is Minho taking good care of you? Guilt crashed over her. She typed back, Everything's fine. Just busy. Love you. You haven't told them, Minho observed. Told them what? That my fake boyfriend is actually a crime boss who's keeping me in his penthouse because rival gangs might target me. That'll go over great at Sunday dinner. We could tell them the truth, that it was never real. Could we? Amara challenged, because it's starting to feel pretty real to me. The admission hung between them, electric and terrifying. Minho's hand finally closed over hers, his thumb tracing her knuckles. What are we doing, Amara? I don't know. Something stupid, probably. Definitely something stupid. But neither of them pulled away. The next few days fell into a strange rhythm. Minho worked from home. Phone calls in rapid Korean, video conferences with men who looked as dangerous as him. Amara called in sick to work, guilt eating at her, and explored the penthouse like a prisoner learning her cage. She found books in Korean and English, a state-of-the-art gym, a closet full of expensive suits, and in his bedroom, which she definitely shouldn't have entered, a single photograph on the nightstand, a young Minho with a woman and a little girl. His mother and sister, she guessed, the only personal item in the entire place. You're not supposed to be in here. Minho's voice from the doorway made her jump. Sorry, I was just snooping? Exploring. He moved into the room, and Amara became acutely aware they were standing next to his bed. A massive bed with black silk sheets that probably cost more than her monthly rent. That photo was taken 2 weeks before my father died, Minho said, picking it up. My mother wanted a family picture. She had a feeling, I think, like she knew time was running out. You look happy. I was 12. I didn't know yet how cruel the world could be. And now I'm the one people are afraid of. He set the photo down, his eyes meeting hers. Does that scare you, being alone with me? Amara should say yes, should back away, should remember all the warnings from Detective Chen. Instead, she stepped closer. I think you scare yourself more than you scare me. Something cracked in Minho's expression. You don't know what I've done. Then tell me. I've hurt people, Amara. I've made decisions that destroyed lives. I've chosen power over mercy more times than I can count. The man you met at Christmas, that's not who I am. That's who I wish I could be. Maybe you could be both. You can't be both, not in this life. Then choose a different life. It's not that simple. Why not? Because people depend on me, my organization, the business owners I protect, my sister's safety. I can't just walk away. You could try. Minho's hand came up to cup her face, his touch gentle despite the violence she knew those hands were capable of. You make it sound possible. Maybe it is. You're either incredibly brave or incredibly naive. Can't I be both? He laughed, the sound rusty like he didn't do it often. Yes, you can be both. Then he kissed her. It wasn't gentle. It was desperate, hungry, like a man drowning, and she was air. Amara kissed him back, her hands fisting in his shirt, pulling him closer. He tasted like the cinnamon tea he drank constantly, and his lips moved against hers with devastating skill. When they finally broke apart, both breathing hard, Minho pressed his forehead to hers. "This is a terrible idea," he murmured. "The worst," Amara agreed. "We should stop. Definitely should stop." Neither of them moved. "Amara—" Her phone rang, shattering the moment. "Mormor Jean." Amara answered, stepping back from Minho. "Hey, Mormor. Baby girl, where are you? Your mama's worried sick." "I'm fine, I'm just—" "You're with him, aren't you? That boy with the dragon on his neck." "Yes." "He keeping you safe?" Amara looked at Minho, who was watching her with an expression she couldn't quite read. "Yes. Good. But baby, you be careful. Men like that, they don't know how to love without breaking things, including themselves." "I know, Mormor. Do you? 'Cause you got that sound in your voice, that sound that says you're already in too deep." Amara closed her eyes. "Maybe I am. Then you hold on tight and don't let go. Love like that, it's either gonna save you both or destroy you both, ain't no in-between." After she hung up, Amara found Minho standing at the windows, staring out at the frozen lake. "We need to talk about what just happened," she said. "We crossed a line." "Yeah, it can't happen again." "Right." He turned to face her, and the hunger in his eyes made her breath catch. "I'm lying. Me too. This is going to end badly. Probably. I don't care. Me neither." Minho crossed the distance between them in 3 strides and kissed her again, deeper this time, like he was trying to memorize the taste of her. Amara melted into him, all her reservations burning away under the heat of wanting someone she absolutely shouldn't want. When his phone rang, they both ignored it. When it rang a second time, Minho cursed in Korean and pulled away. "I have to take this," he said, his voice rough. "It's my second in command." He stepped into the hallway, and Amara heard him switch to rapid Korean. The tone shifted, urgent, angry. He came back white-faced. "What's wrong?" Amara asked. "The Huang family just made their move." "What does that mean?" "It means," Minho said grimly, already reaching for his jacket, "they took someone to get to me." "Who?" His eyes met hers, and Amara saw real fear for the first time. "Your grandmother." Amara's world shattered into 1,000 pieces. "What do you mean they took Mormor Jean?" Her voice came out strangled. "She's just an old woman. She has nothing to do with any of this." "That's exactly why they took her." Minho was already on his phone, barking orders in Korean. "To prove they can reach anyone I care about, to send a message." "A message? She's 83 years old. She has diabetes. She needs her medication." "I know." Minho's jaw was tight. The careful control she'd seen him maintain, finally cracking. "I know, and I'm going to get her back." How? How are you going to—" "The same way I've handled every threat for the past 15 years. I'm going to remind the Huang family exactly who they're fucking with." The coldness in his voice sent chills down Amara's spine. This was the man Detective Chen had warned her about, the dangerous one, the criminal. "I'm coming with you," Amara said, grabbing her coat. "Absolutely not. That's my grandmother, which is exactly why you're staying here where you're safe." Minho caught her arm, his grip firm but not painful. "Amara, listen to me. If they get their hands on you too, I lose all leverage. You stay here. My men will guard you. I'll bring your grandmother back. And if you can't—" Something fierce blazed in his eyes. "I will." He left before she could argue further, and the penthouse suddenly felt like a prison. Amara paced the living room while 2 of Minho's men, silent, intimidating, stood guard by the door. She called her mother. The phone went straight to voicemail. She called her father. Same thing. Panic clawed at her throat. What had she done? What had she brought down on her family by accepting $5 for a fake date? Hours crawled past. Amara wore a path in the expensive carpet, her mind spinning through worst-case scenarios. Mormor Jean was strong, but she was old. What if they hurt her? What if she had a medical emergency? What if— Her phone rang, unknown number. "Hello? Miss Jenkins, this is Detective Chen. We intercepted communications about your grandmother. We know she's been taken by the Huang organization. Then help her, send the police. We're trying, but we don't have a location yet. If you know anything, if Kang Minho contacted you, he's gone to get her back. Ms. Jenkins, if Minho confronts the Huangs, people will die. This is exactly the kind of gang violence we've been trying to prevent. You need to tell us where—" Amara hung up. She didn't trust the police, didn't trust anyone except the criminal who'd kissed her like she was oxygen. God, she was so stupid. Her phone buzzed with a text. "Minho, I have her. She's safe. Coming back now. Relief so intense it made her dizzy washed over Amara. She sank onto the couch, hands shaking. 30 minutes later, the penthouse door opened. Minho walked in supporting Momo Jean, who looked smaller than Amara had ever seen her. There was a bruise on her cheek. Her hands trembled. "Momo!" Amara ran to them, tears streaming down her face. "Oh my God! Are you okay?" "I'm fine, baby, just shaken up." Momo Jean's voice was steady, but Amara could see the fear in her eyes. "This young man got me out before they could do anything worse." Amara looked at Minho, really looked at him. His white shirt was torn, splattered with blood. Not his, she prayed. His knuckles were raw and bleeding. The dragon tattoo on his neck seemed more prominent, like the violence had brought it to life. "What did you do?" she whispered. "What I had to." His voice was flat, empty. "The Huangs won't touch your family again, you have my word." "Minho, I need to clean up." He turned toward the hallway, moving like every muscle hurt. "Make sure she has everything she needs. I'll call a doctor." "Boy, wait." Momo Jean's voice stopped him. "Come here." Minho turned slowly and Amara saw the wariness in his eyes. Like he expected judgment, condemnation. Momo Jean reached up and patted his bloodied cheek gently. "Thank you for keeping your promise." "What promise?" Amara asked. "In the kitchen at Christmas," Momo Jean said, still watching Minho. "He promised to keep you safe. And he did. Even when it meant becoming the monster, he tries so hard not to be." Minho's expression cracked just for a second, and Amara saw the cost of whatever he'd done tonight, saw it carved into the lines around his eyes, the set of his shoulders. "I'll send in the doctor," he said quietly, then disappeared down the hall. Amara got Momo Jean settled in the guest room, fussing over her until the old woman swatted her hands away. "Stop clucking like a mother hen. I'm fine. You have a bruise. I've had worse from falling in my own bathroom. Baby, sit down." Amara sat, and Momo Jean took her hands. "That boy loves you," she said simply, "and you love him." "Mama, it's complicated. Love always is. But I saw his face when he came for me. I saw what he was willing to do to keep me safe, because I matter to you. That's not fake, baby girl. That's real as it gets. He's a criminal. He's dangerous. He's a man who's been surviving in a world that chews people up and spits them out. He's done bad things, yes, but he's also the man who sat through your aunt's interrogation with patience, who paid for my medicine without being asked, who just risked everything to save an old woman he barely knows. What am I supposed to do with that? You love him anyway, or you let him go, but you don't get to pretend you don't have a choice." After the doctor came and went, after Momo Jean fell asleep, Amara went looking for Minho. She found him in his bedroom, standing at the window in clean clothes, his hands bandaged. The bloody shirt was gone, but she could still see the violence on him, in the tension of his shoulders, the hard line of his jaw. "Is she really okay?" he asked without turning around. "Yes, thanks to you." Amara stepped closer. "What did you do to the Huangs?" "I made them understand that touching your family was a death sentence." "Did you kill anyone?" A pause. "Do you want the truth?" "Yes." "No. But I hurt them badly enough that they'll think twice before coming near you again, and I've made it clear, publicly clear, that you and your family are under my protection. In my world, that's an ironclad guarantee. So I'm yours now? Just like that?" Minho finally turned to face her. "You were always going to be mine, Amara. From the moment you opened your door on Christmas and looked at me like I was worth more than $5. That's insane. Probably." He moved closer and Amara's breath caught. "But it's true anyway. I don't know how to do this, how to be someone who gets to have something good. I don't know how to love without destroying, but I want to try. For you. This isn't a romance novel, Minho. You can't just decide we belong together because you feel something. Then tell me you don't feel it too. Tell me this is still fake and I'll walk away. I'll make sure you're protected, that your family is safe, but I'll walk away and let you have the normal life you deserve." Amara looked at this man, this dangerous, complicated, impossible man, and tried to imagine her life without him in it. She couldn't. "I can't tell you that," she admitted, "because I do feel it, and I hate that I do because you're everything I shouldn't want. I know. You're a criminal. I know. The police are watching me because of you. I know. My family is going to have questions I can't answer. I know. And I'm still standing here like an idiot wanting to kiss you." Minho's expression softened. "Then kiss me. This is a terrible idea. The worst. We're going to regret this. Definitely." Amara closed the distance between them and kissed him hard, pouring all her fear and anger and impossible feelings into it. Minho kissed her back like she was salvation, his hands cradling her face with devastating gentleness. When they finally broke apart, he pressed his forehead to hers. "I can't promise you easy," he murmured. "I can't promise you normal, but I can promise you that I will protect you and your family with everything I have, that I will never lie to you again, and that I will spend every day trying to be worthy of you." That's a lot of promises from a man who just beat people up for a living. "I'm an overachiever." Despite everything, Amara laughed. "You're insane." "Probably. Is that a yes? A yes to what?" "To us. To trying this. To—" He hesitated, vulnerability flickering across his face. "To being mine." Amara thought about Detective Chen's warnings, about her mother's expectations, about the safe, normal life she'd always imagined. Then she thought about Momo Jean's words. "Love like that, it's either going to save you both or destroy you both." "Okay," she heard herself say. "Okay, yes, I'm yours." "You're mine now," Minho said, and there was something fierce and possessive in his voice that should have scared her, but instead made her feel claimed in the best possible way. "And you're mine," Amara countered, "which means no more arranged marriages, no more keeping secrets, and you're coming to Sunday dinner at my parents' house like a normal boyfriend." "I don't think I've ever been to a Sunday dinner." "Well, you're about to, and you're bringing dessert. Demanding. You said you wanted to try. This is me letting you try." Minho kissed her again, softer this time, like she was something precious. "I'm going to disappoint them. Probably, but they'll love you anyway. That's how family works." "I don't know how family works." "Then I'll teach you." They stood there in the darkness, holding each other like lifelines, and Amara knew this was crazy. Knew she was choosing chaos over safety, danger over normal. But when Minho looked at her like she hung the moon, she couldn't bring herself to care. Outside, Chicago glittered with Christmas lights and snow. Inside, a mafia boss held a barista, like she was the most valuable thing in his world. And maybe, just maybe, love didn't have to make sense to be real. Christmas in the Jenkins household was chaos, as always. But this year, Amara watched from the kitchen doorway with a smile as Minho, dressed in a simple black sweater that still probably cost more than her rent, taught her young cousins basic Korean phrases. The dragon tattoo on his neck was visible, and no one batted an eye anymore. "Say saranghae," he instructed patiently. "It means, I love you." "Saranghae," the kids shouted, and Minho's smile was genuine, soft. He'd smiled more in the past year than probably his entire life before. Amara liked to think she had something to do with that. "Your young man is fitting in well," Momo Jean said, appearing beside Amara with a knowing look. "Told you love would save or destroy you both." "It's saving us," Amara said firmly. "Slowly, but it is." Minho had been true to his word. He'd stepped back from the worst parts of his business, delegating to trusted people. He still wasn't clean, probably never would be, but he was trying, going legitimate, slowly, protecting rather than destroying. And every Sunday, without fail, he showed up at her parents' house with dessert and patience. He caught her eye across the room and smiled. A real smile, the kind he saved just for her. Patricia called everyone to dinner, and Minho's hand found Amara's as they walked to the table together. "Thank you," he murmured. "For what?" "For answering an ad from a stranger, for taking a chance on $5, for seeing something in me worth saving." Amara squeezed his hand. The diamond ring on her finger, she'd said yes 2 months ago, catching the light. "Best $5 I ever spent."